another boat going up the Indian Ocean to Egypt. From that cold northern Scotland to this very warm climate took time to get used to. The temperature here often hit 120 degrees Fahrenheit and above with no humidity, sometimes making it hard to breathe. The 2 blankets we had were needed at night as the temperature got very cold. Well, I was waiting here when I got a call from the Canadian Embassy in Algiers that I was to report there immediately. When I arrived, to make a long story short, there was my brother awaiting me. He was one of the thousands of prisoners who escaped prison camps in Italy in 1943 when the Italians gave up. Of all things, he had arrived back in our lines with 417 RCS Squadron in Italy, and he was told that I had just left a few days earlier. He then left for England and home, while I caught a boat 3 days later for England. Going through intelligence there, I was told that I would not be going overseas again. I could have my choice of anything I wanted, but to go home. So I told them that I had enough frontline fighters and would like bombers for a change. Before I could get my next breath, I was told, "You've got it." I ended up in Leaming, Yorkshire, England, with 427 RCF Lion Squadron, doing base maintenance on Halifax bombers.
Do you think the youth of today appreciate, respect, or remember the sacrifices made?
A lot of them don't. Many don't. I don't know whether, a lot of them just don't understand what went on before, years before when we went to war and back in the First World War and all. A lot of them just don't understand it. Many of them don't care. I had the bombs drop close enough to us that I got the flak, all the dirt and the sand that most of it all piled on top of me and everything else. I mean, that was quite an experience. I had 2 brothers, both in the Air Force. One stayed over here, he was the youngest. The other one, he went overseas just before me. His training didn't last as long as mine, so he was overseas before I did. You could see 50 miles from where we were right across. There was just nothing but sand and mountains off in the area in the distance. And I could see these planes flying. They were Wellingtons. You could see them taking off, way off in the distance, just little wee specks. And that's where he was. I didn't even know about it. Oh, there were 2 jeep loads of officers, pilots came in to our station, just racing right through the station and yelling, "Where's your CO? Where's your CO?" And everybody's pointing them this way, that way. They finally came over to where I was working, and not where the plane I was working on, but the CO was sitting on the nose of the plane right next to me, about 100 feet or so away. And they said, "Oh, there he is up there." So they went over and says, "You the CO?" "Yeah." I said, "Why are you shooting our planes down?" Our CO never said a word. He just, "Oh, go on. What's the score? What's wrong?" So anyway, the Americans, they were just going humming and hawing about shooting their planes down, that, and it's about time to stop doing it and all this kind of stuff. And finally our CO just, "Hey, we didn't shoot your planes down." "Well, yes, you did." "No, we didn't. You fly at night. We do not fly at night. The bullfighters fly at night. And the bullfighters shot you down. You just go after them." And I said, "In the meantime, is you're stupid enough not to put your IFF switch on when you go flying, and you know that's the rules around here, then you deserve to get shot down, or get the hell off my field and stay off." So they did. And that's a true story.